What's going on, my friends? I hope you're well. As always, I'm doing well for sure, and I do hope that you are as well. I wanted to get on here. I know this year coming up, I'm going to start doing a video series as I get to it, talking about some things with music licensing. I'm going to have a whole playlist compiled of some things that I'm going to do, and we're going to talk about those things, but I want to get on and talk about one thing that's important today because it's a segue into the verse of the year. Just sitting down, I'm doing a lot of research and getting a lot of preparing done for 2025. And folks, we're a few days from it. I'm telling you, it's coming whether you like it or not. So we'll talk about that. Also, I'm trying not to hit on the desk because it shakes the camera, and I've realized that, and yet I still do it. It's just kind of a habit. So we're going to keep my hands away from the desk. I think that'll do. Leaning on it is one thing, but tapping on it, shaking the camera, so we won't do that. My apologies for that, because I know that when you're watching the video, that could be so annoying, I know. With that said, Coke Zero caffeine free, zero sugar, zero caffeine. It's actually very good on a side note. Anyway, I want to talk about the things you need to do each year in regards to setting goals. This is something I've talked about. Others have talked about it. And it's really just setting a game plan in place. And the one thing I will say is that even with me still, in everything that I've done, I usually had to set goals when I had a retail business with my music, things I wanted to accomplish. They're never perfect. They're never going to be. We're going to talk about setting goals. There are going to be times you're going to have to go back and punt the ball. But from what I've learned about music licensing, there are some things that you can do just to plan on what you want to do for the year and actually, put it in place to do for each month. And in my case, what I do, and I'll show you, this is where my good notes comes about. I love it. If I had a notepad or paper, it'd be the same thing. So turn this around and you will see my handwriting is so horrible. And you can see that orange is the yellow highlight. It's just the camera. Hang on one second. But you see how horrible my handwriting is. Sorry about that. You see it. But I can read it, and that's all that matters. Yours may be a hell of a lot better, and I hope that it is. But be it that it may, I write that out, and I have another list of things I'm going to do for each publisher and how I'm going to do it. Now, we're all different. That's obvious. Everybody's journey is different. I've spoke about this before. Don't get hung up on someone else's journey. Work on yours. It's going to be different. That goes into the music that you do, the publishers that you work with, everything in regards to every last bit of that. And that's a given, And I will say, and I'm going to preface this when I start that series of verse of the year about learning this business and getting yourself. Don't put the cart before the horse and don't rush yourself. It's going to be there. It's a marathon. It's not a race. It's not going to go away in 6 months. At least we hope it isn't. I've been doing this long enough. I don't see that it's going anywhere. But in that case, I set goals each year. I set goals what I'm going to do for each publishing library. Now, I work consistently with, let's say, 2 or 3 libraries. 2 mainly, and then a third one that I used to do the most work for, but then I started working with these other guys and started progressing into some other things that have really worked well for me, trying to branch out. And there's been some changes with that other one. And I'll be honest, I've talked about it before. That other one is Jingle Punks. I used to do probably 100 tracks a year with Jingle Punks. And the thing is that things have changed with Jingle Punks. Now, with the new acquisition at Jingle Punks, hopefully, because one of the guys that are in that acquisition is one of the founders of Jingle Punks. So let's hope he can reel it back in and bring some cool stuff back. I've speculated that there'll be some changes, I think, coming. I'm going to guess and speculate, but I hope I'm wrong. But I do hope I'm right with good changes coming where we can put more music in. And what's been going on the last couple of years is not happening. We get some improvements. I think they may be going into either a more automated process or more, not more or less automated, but because it's kind of that way. They might be doing some label sub-hubbing. That may be happening. I don't know. But the acquisition of Jingle Punks, their parent company, from what I mentioned, if I said it correctly, if I need to go back, I'm second guessing myself. Sony is behind that, so there's no telling where that's going on that deal. You get a lot of companies that own companies, they never do anything, they just own it. But they still have say so what goes on with it. So, but anyway, I digress on that. I take each library and I set goals for what I'm going to do with each library. I know how many tracks I'm going to do a year. And the two of the three that I do most of the work for, I'm working kind of in the center. Each month, I do so many tracks a month. Now, one of those libraries, I do albums, and one I do individual tracks. I know one of them I'm doing so many a month, and then the other, I take each album that I'm going to do, and each month I set a goal to go, okay, this month I'm going to do this album. Next month I'm going to do this album. Next month. It really is only, let me count here, that I've written down maybe 5 or 6 albums that I want to do over the music that is asked for. So in other words, if there's a brief in that given month and I need to work on that, I may have to set it aside for the next month. It's okay. But you have to understand that if I do 10 tracks a month for one library that I'm going to do, I still have 20 days left in the month to do an album or other things. I've set myself a goal to connect with a new library. You may work consistently with libraries that get you a lot of placements, but what I encourage you to do is set a goal to maybe connect with a new library each year and get them maybe 10, 15 tracks a year. Or if they start getting you a lot of placements and they take more, get them more music a year. There are libraries, guys, that will tell you that will only take maybe an album of music from you a year, one album. They get so much music. Some will say, hey, send me what you can, you know. We'll go through and see what we can take. You know, they may not take everything, but they can take a lot of it. You may can get 40 or 50 tracks a year per library. You know, you revert back to like what Dan Graham, his premise of just doing 52 tracks a year and that whole mentality. That's cool and it works, but if you get into a groove and doing this where you can do more than one track a week, and you're doing what I'm doing, you're going to do more than 52 tracks a year. You might pick 2 or 3 publishers that are getting you a lot of placements, and you can do 52 tracks a year for each publisher. And, you know, that's 160 tracks a year, with 50 to spare for new libraries, or maybe a 4th library. You never know. Or you just, however it works. There's no set formula, but set the goals. Set the goals of the genres of music you want to do, but don't try to conquer every genre. The genres I do are going to be genres that are within the 2 or 3 genres that I normally do. In other words, they're probably hybrid. Or they're like for tension stuff, it's going to be a tension with guitar, or this type of tension, 3 or 4 different types of tension. It might be rock, and a couple of types of rock, or this. There's only really 2 or 3 different genres I'm doing, but I do about 6 or 7 albums. You get the point, you get the idea, and you know what I'm talking about. So set your goals, man. I don't care what it's for, but set the goals. Now, I can tell you right now that you may not accomplish everything on that list a year, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. I didn't accomplish everything on my list this year in 2024. I didn't get as many tracks as I wanted to get done. I had things going on this year. I lost my father in May, and I had to deal a lot of that. I was finishing up the build of my house, and life happens, folks. You have families. You have other jobs. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. We've talked about that stuff. Don't worry about that crap. Do the music. It's all that matters is the music. Nobody cares about anything else. They care about that music, and that's all that matters. And get it where you can get it and enjoy doing it. Now, I will tell you this. If I can stress anything, don't do something for the sake of just doing it. You got to want to do it. You've got to enjoy it. Because if you're doing it because you think you have to, it's not going to come out that well at all. It's just not going to work for you. Don't force yourself to do something that's going to kill the whole thing for you. Don't look at it as a job. If you love it, you're going to do it. You got to love this. You got to love music. Doesn't matter how you're doing it. Love the creation of music. I love it. You know, as I'm sitting there this morning doing music, I'm working on a dramedy album for a library of mine. That's one of the albums that's on the list. By the first of the year, I'll get that shipped out. But I'm going to do some dramedy for about 2 or 3 different libraries. In one of the libraries I'm with, we work on a smaller group of composers, and they were kind of approved in a couple of genres. But I'm going to see if I can get in and add the 3rd genre of dramedy, because dramedy actually still falls in the tension underscore category, so it's not really that far off the mark. You get the point, you get the idea. When you're getting into several different genres and you're trying to conquer everything, that's where you're going to be. You could be the jack of all trades, but the master of none. So always remember that. Listen, there are people who could do every genre. commend you. I wish I was you. But you have to focus on something you're the best at, because you're going to, if you get serious in this, you start going to conferences, you start meeting people, and these are where your goals are going to be set of how you want to accomplish things with these people when you connect with them. So they're going to ask you, what are you the best at? What do you do? Don't tell them everything. Never, and I've said it before, never again, I'm going to say it again. You're going to hear me say it again down the road. Never, ever, 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 and I mean never, tell anybody that you do everything. It's the biggest turnoff. Maybe you can. Maybe you're one of those few people, but they don't want to hear that. They really don't. It's a turnoff. They're going to probably ghost you in the junk folder and never respond to you again, or they're going to walk away without giving you any ounce of contact information or the time of day. Just be straightforward. Tell them what you're the best at. Tell them, yeah, I got a couple of genres that kind of ties my best. And they respect that. They know composers do more than one genre. They just really want to know in the wheelhouse of what you're really good at. They want to know because they're probably looking for that. Everything else is a bonus. You're that much more valuable to them if they ask you to do it later. And if they realize, hey, he can do these genres and kick total ass at them, you're going to be one of their go-to guys. Trust me, I know it happens. I know many in this industry that have gotten into this, and they're kicking ass at it, man. And some of these guys, the life of me, I don't know how they're doing it. They've only been doing it 2 or 3 years, and they're really kicking ass at it. They're full-time composers now, and they're getting that many placements. Some of them are doing custom work. So set your goals, guys. I just want to get here and just say, set your goals. Write them out. I write them out. Look at them. I know it seems tedious, like, oh, why do I have to do that? I fought that for many years. But it really does put things in perspective. You can look at it. Something about writing it out that really helps. It brings it from here to paper. Now, there are going to be times, I'm telling you, I do it all the time. You're going to have to back up and punt. Last year, I can tell you, I had the goals. I didn't get every album I wanted to do done. I didn't get tracks for every library I wanted to do. But this year, I'm at a point where I've got albums for certain people I've got to get done. There's one album for one library. It's been a couple of years. They get so full of music, and I've realized I've got to hit him early in the year. I've got another one that I've got to get. We had a meeting at the conference. We had lunch, and I told him, I'm going to get you, and I'll just bear with me between now and the first of the year. In fact, I've got to call him. We've got to catch up here. I've got to give him a call and talk to him a little bit. But, I've got another library that I haven't written for in a while, and I'm starting to realize lately what they are placing that I've given them is what I need to get them more of. And they deal with a lot of reality shows. They deal with a lot of stuff like that. You want to allot 15, 20 tracks a year for them. There's nothing wrong with that. Do it. You just don't know where that stuff's going to go, It just goes to show you that you can't just completely discount everybody. You got to go back and revisit these people. You may have a lot of tracks that are not getting a lot of placements, but you need to go back and you need to look and revisit. Listen, these libraries make changes all the time. They get new clients. There's trends change all the time. That's part of the work of this is you got to pay attention to what's going on in the industry. And one big help is that, one, you're collaborating with other artists. I'm really starting to see more value of that. I'm trying to get the trust back in of collaborating with more artists. I just did an album with somebody. I trust him because I've known him for a while, and we did a good album for one of my publishers that he's going to absolutely love. I know he is. It's some acoustic music. And I'm going to do another one with another guy who's a celloist here the first of the year. I still got to get in touch with Justin Lepard. I don't know if Justin's watching this video, but hang in there. You're still on my list, buddy. Collaborate, because what they'll do is these guys are in with libraries that can maybe get you a deal with them and you start writing music for that library. It's not always the case, but there are cases that can happen. I mean, I've collaborated with people in libraries that I've sent music on my own to them and still haven't taken anything, or I haven't sent anything because it's nothing that I do. Just wondering, well, I guess it's the only genre they work on. I don't know how or why they took the other album, or unless there was something about it in that collaboration. Obviously there was. But you're going to have, it's just there's no set formula in this deal, but it will help you. Going to these conferences and learning about the trends in the industry, the things that are going on. The things in the industry as a whole. And I go, like I said, 1,000,000 times, I go to the Production Music Conference each year. Yes, it's expensive. It is. It's expensive, folks, but it's worth it. And you're not going to know until you at least go to one. And there are so many guys that I've known that I've had this year. Some guys walk up to me and say, "Man, I've watched your videos, man. I appreciate it, man." And you always say, "Come to this conference. This is my first conference, and I'm loving it." And like I say, you won't know until you go. I'm not going to force you to do something you really couldn't afford to do or didn't want to do, but you have to ask yourself, how bad do you want to do it, and how much, how bad do you want to learn it and really get into it, and how much do you love music to do it, And I look at this way: you're investing in your business. It's tax write-off for me every year. I have to give all these expenses to my tax guy. So anyway, guys, set your goals. I didn't mean to make this too long, but set them, write them out, whether it be a legal pad of paper, your good notes, your rocket notebook. It's, I don't know, I'm neurotic about this, but I love to jot notes. Like I jot notes this morning of things I need to do when I put my project down. I had to go run some errands. So make it happen. The world is your oyster, man. Everybody has their own journey. You have your own style of music. Like there are 2 or 3 different people could be doing crime tension. There's 3 different people could be doing 3 different types of crime tension. In other words, it's the same, but you may have your own style and your own twists. I've kind of realized that with myself. It doesn't mean that all 3 of you would be signed to the same publisher. There may be something about what one guy does the publisher doesn't want. It doesn't mean that it's bad, but there will be a library that will take it. That's the nature of this. It's what's best for that opportunity, what's best for that library and their clients. It has nothing to do with this gatekeeper mentality or keeping secrets like the record industry did years ago. It has nothing to do with that. It's a different ballgame. So, when I'm giving advice and I'm talking and you see people answer questions in these Facebook forums, don't think that they're trying to keep information from you. They're saying probably more or less the same thing that I'm saying, Everyone's journey is different. You got to go find it. They'll give you the corners, and I'm going to show you the corners of where to find them and how to find them and how I started on it. And you'll be able to do the same. So anyway, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to try to get on Verse of the Year, do this video series. I'm going to be gone most of all the month of January. I don't know if I mentioned that. I guess I'm going sooner than I thought. It was a whole long story, but I have a cruise to Hawaii booked, and I got to work this year to pay for it. But we're going in January. So I'm going to be doing some work on the boat, and I don't know if I'll check in on the boat or not. I'm definitely going to document it on my other channel. And if you're interested in travel and stuff like that and how I built my house and RV life and my travels, you'll chime in. I'll refer the channel to you, even though this is about music. But I definitely get started on those if I don't decide to right after I get back. I may, before I leave, start doing 1 or 2 videos on that series. We'll see. Depends on what I have going on here. Right now, I'm sitting down just trying to plan for my next year. I'm researching libraries. There you go. Researching ones I might want to pitch to. I'm looking at genres of music, listening to different music. I'm going in, I'm trying to map out. My biggest thing is that I have to, and Clint talked about this with Clint Music, I have to sit down and take a planner of each month of how I'm going to do each album and when I'm going to do it. But I also have to work around if briefs start coming in. I get a lot of briefs. They start coming in. What I can do and what I can't do. I have to make time. That's priority. Because when those briefs come in, they're looking for that music for opportunities, for shows we've done before or new opportunities. Or they're looking to fill their catalog with the things that they know that their distributor or their clients are saying, this is coming on, this is what we foresee this year. And this happens. This is what we foresee of what we're looking for this year. These publishing libraries that get their clients are serious about this. I have meetings and I go, listen, we foresee that we're looking for tension with strings this year. We're looking for, swagger rock, or we're looking for EDM dramedy, or we're looking for hip hop tension. You get the point. You get the idea. You got to keep your ears to the ground. You got to make sure you're checking your junk folder, make sure they aren't going to junk. Get these things, start going in your inbox and start paying attention to these libraries and reading these briefs. If anything, these briefs are going to teach you what's happening, and you're going to get reference tracks of music to learn and get better at before you even submit to it. So anyway, I'm off. I will see you guys definitely for the first of the year, and I thank you for watching. And man, set your goals. Make it happen. Put that plan in place, and you can do it. And hopefully I didn't beat on the desk in this. Unconsciously, I'll do it and shake the camera and not know it. So anyway, we'll see you in the next one. I appreciate you for watching. Be cool.